So I thought we'd take our time together to sort of go through a journey that would help people to understand or formulate for themselves uh, a game plan or a strategy for moving forward with their life. So maybe we could start off with a discussion on exactly in your mind what is a soul? Is it an energy? What kind of life force is a soul, in your opinion?
Well, your soul is your, it's your energy force. It is what actually allows everything to function as if it were, energy charged. When a person leaves
Hmm.
this world, their soul leaves the physical body. So therefore, it doesn't function physically any longer. So your soul is your energetic expression of your own light, from my perspective.
Right, kind of like your 9-volt battery
Yeah,
for your life,
but
for
it's
your
interesting.
human form.
Yeah, it's interesting too because I kind of see everybody having a soul print, similar to we all
Mm.
have a unique fingerprint. So I see it as a soul print, and we each have a unique aspect within the variation of degrees of our own soul that sometimes shows up through our physicality. However, on a soul level, there is attributes of divinity that I think are unique to each other. So I also see it as like a big puzzle, and we each are pieces to the puzzle. And
Hmm.
some of us might be corner pieces, but some of us might be middle pieces. However, we're all unique and different to the whole. And with that, when we have our piece of the puzzle, putting our piece of the puzzle back together, we can then shine, which allows our soul to shine.
Hello, and welcome to the Generate Your Value podcast. I'm your co host, Andy McDowell, founder and owner of Generate Your Value, providing self leadership, leadership, and business coaching services for corporate executives and business owners.
And I'm Zach Levy, your other co-host. I run a nationwide financial service business with my wife, Megan.
Together, Zach and I have the intention to bring you tips, concepts, ideas, suggestions, stories, and analogies from A to Z, which will help you to grow your personal brand and leadership skills in such a way that joy, happiness, and success, as you define it for yourself, are achieved.
We hope to use our gifts, talents, and experiences in business and leadership to generate value in your life. And with that being said, let's move to our topic for today.
Hello, and welcome to the Generate Your Value podcast. My name is Andy McDowell, one of your co hosts. Unfortunately, my partner in crime, Zach Levy, couldn't join us today. Today's episode is not going to be for the faint of heart. I'm just going to give you that warning right now. Before we even get started, we're going to go deep. And we like to go deep on this podcast, not too often because we don't want to shake you up too much, but we're going to get into the spiritual level today. And I've brought a wonderful guest on today, hails from Naples, Florida, Dr. Dawn Ella, to talk about her life story and a major event that changed the direction in her life, as well as talk about why are you here? Why are you here on this earth? Why did you come here? Why did you grace our presence, so to speak? I'm kidding. But why did you grace your presence here on earth? And kind of what's the meaning of life? So, grab your cup of coffee and your favorite bagel, if it's morning, or a glass of wine if you're listening to this in the evening, and sit down and listen to this conversation between Dr. Dawn Ella and myself. So let me give you an intro as I typically do. In terms of a bio, Dr. Dawn Ella holds an impressive array of qualifications, including being a doctor of complementary, integrative, and alternative medicine, ordained minister, doctor of divinity, doctor of metaphysics, an energy healer, and a certified law of attraction life coach, and mentor. She's also an acclaimed author, renowned as a soul physician and distinguished in the realms of alternative medicine with accolades as a doctor of divinity, doctor of metaphysics. She also excels as a soul medic mentor, soul energy healer, spiritual teacher, inspirational speaker, and serves as a clear channel of the light. At the age of 30, Dr. Dawn Ella underwent a profound transformation following a near death experience. This life altering event bestowed upon her a unique gift: the ability to perceive and connect with the elevated vibrational energy of the soul. Dr. Ella is deeply passionate about sharing the soulful wisdom of one's authentic higher self and catalyzing the awakening of the higher frequencies rooted in the spiritual laws of the universe. Her mission revolves around facilitating the enlightenment of the human self with the soul self, empowering individuals to harness their innate personal power and rediscover the radiant light within their hearts and souls. So that's a lot of words, a lot of high level words, but we're talking about high level energy, so they deserve to have high level words. So, Dr. Dawn, welcome to the podcast. Can't thank you enough for taking that valuable resource of yours called time to spend it with us today.
Thank you for having me. It's nice to be here.
So I thought, Dr. Dawn, the way I usually like to start the podcast is to have our guests talk a little bit about their life story and how it is that they got to where they are today. And we kind of have a clue from your bio as to a major event that happened in your life. But if you wouldn't mind, take a few minutes to talk about your upbringing and your life story and how it is that you are where you are today.
Okay. Well, I'll start with 17 years ago when I had a tragic accident. Left me in a coma for 3 days. So I'll start with that because of that accident, I don't have a lot of recollection of my childhood and my beginning
Oh,
before that. It doesn't mean that I don't remember, because I do remember faint things, but it's kind of blurry. And part of the accident itself actually kept some of my memory from coming back,
mm,
which to me I feel is a gift, to be able to kind of get a reset. However, since the accident 17 years ago, I've definitely been on a life mission. The accident was pretty tragic. I left this world at that time. And I remember going through a dark tunnel and then kind of popping out to this bright light. And I was told, it's not your time yet. You need to go back. And I said, okay, what do you want me to do? And interestingly enough, I didn't see my body. I felt 100% at peace, and the communication was telepathic. So it's not your time yet. You need to go back. I'm like, what do you want me to do? I was told I was supposed to heal people. And I was told a certain way to do that healing through a bridging technique. And so I kind of said, that's it. It seemed really small in comparison to my desires. But I was told, no, it's not it. You just need to start there. And that's what you're supposed to do. And only you can heal these people, so you need to be able to go back to do this. And so I said, okay, very excited and very happy to be able to, do this life mission. However, when I went back into my body very quickly, I woke up in the hospital and fell to the floor at that point because I didn't have equilibrium,
mm.
because of a nerve that got nicked in my eye. So my equilibrium was off, so I couldn't stand. Um, and there began my healing journey that started with being bedridden for a year. So I'm thinking I have this great accomplishment that I'm supposed to be doing. However, I need to do this on myself first, because I was very broken as a result of the accident. So that's really where my journey began that I recollect.
Yeah, I could only imagine being given that kind of direction, if you will, and then you wake up and your body's not functioning to a point where it's gonna make it very difficult
Yeah.
for you to actually execute, if you will, on that directive.
The communication to the other side or through my higher self continued after the accident. From what
Mm-hmm.
I've learned, those that leave this world and come back continue to have a direct connect with the other side. So it depends on how much you facilitate it thereafter. However, it has been a guiding light and force that assisted me greatly after I returned. So as much as it was very, daunting physically, the connection spiritually was very much guided by the light.
And so you were able to heal yourself to a point where you can function as a human being on Earth, to then go about starting a coaching practice, a coaching business to help heal people.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
is there a specific type of healing that your directive was for, physical, mental, or is it all aspects of healing?
All aspects of healing, but it's more energy medicine that I focused
Mm,
on and utilizing sound healing because sound comes before form, and sound seems to relate more with where you are at. It meets you where you are, so it's non invasive. It works with your body, not against it. So,
mm-hmm.
sound was the main focus of the healing that I utilized to a great degree, especially for the aspect of brain, because the brain is programmable, and the sound frequencies for healing with the brain were very relatable to work with what I needed.
So I thought we'd take our time together to sort of go through a journey that would help people to understand or formulate for themselves uh, a game plan or a strategy for moving forward with their life. So maybe we could start off with a discussion on exactly, in your mind, what is a soul? Is it an energy? What kind of life force is a soul, in your opinion?
Well, your soul is your, it's your energy force. It is what actually allows everything to function as if it were, energy charged. When a person leaves
Mm-hmm.
this world, their soul leaves the physical body. So therefore, it doesn't function physically any longer. So your soul is your energetic expression of your own light, from my perspective.
Right, kind of like your 9-volt battery
Yeah,
for your life,
but
for
it's
your
interesting.
human form.
Yeah, it's interesting too because I kind of see everybody having a soul print, similar to we all
Mm.
have a unique fingerprint. So I see it as a soul print, and we each have a unique aspect within the variation of degrees of our own soul that sometimes shows up through our physicality. However, on a soul level, there is attributes of divinity that I think are unique to each other. So I also see it as like a big puzzle, and we each are pieces to the puzzle. And
Hmm.
some of us might be corner pieces, but some of us might be middle pieces. However, we're all unique and different to the whole. And with that, when we have our piece of the puzzle, putting our piece of the puzzle back together, we can then shine, which allows our soul to shine, if that makes any sense.
No, it makes a lot of sense, right? So if we're trying to align with our purpose here on Earth, you can imagine, to use that same analogy of a puzzle piece, right? Somebody picks up a puzzle
Yeah,
piece and tries to put it in the wrong spot within
yeah,
the puzzle doesn't look right, the puzzle doesn't, quote, work until such time that the person putting the puzzle together can find the right place and therefore get alignment for where that puzzle piece needs to be. And then it becomes a contributing member, if you will, of the whole puzzle.
yes. But it's almost as if your puzzle piece needs to be put back together as well. When we come into this world, our job is to put that piece of our puzzle back together. When we experience blockages or different turns in life,
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
denote that too, putting our own piece of our puzzle back together. And that allows it to go into its right place, just by proxy of it being in harmony with itself.
With
From my
itself.
perspective too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, so before our soul comes to Earth, I'd have to imagine part of the soul blueprint is what it is that our soul has come to Earth to learn about. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, does the soul have growth? In other words, the soul comes to, I call it the Earth School. Soul comes to the Earth School in an effort for the soul to learn and grow, or is it always in its kind of natural state and doesn't need any kind of growth?
That's interesting because when after I left this world and came back, I remember learning one thing that was specific. And because I was feeling very broken, I'm kind of asking the question, how am I supposed to do this job
Mm,
that you're asking me to do when I'm so
to do,
broken?
yeah.
And it was, yeah, it was shared with me that I'm whole and complete within myself. And I'm thinking, what does that mean? Because I don't feel whole and complete. I'm actually very broken. I can barely
Mm,
stand up and I don't remember things and I don't know how to use things. And how is that supposed to even work? And one thing that I learned was you see the soul as kind of like this ball of light. And within this ball of light, they showed me that there's these fragmented pieces that are blocking the light. And so when we come into the world this lifetime, it's our opportunity to allow the transmutation of those fragmented pieces, to remove them so that the light can shine. So
mm.
we come into the earth school, as you call it, with the opportunity to transmute these blockages or these fragmented pieces that are blocking our light from shining.
Yeah,
And so that
I've
is
always,
also the bridging technique that I was told to do. So how do you remove those fragmented pieces?
mm,
That's where use the bridging technique to help energy transmute.
yeah, I've always kind of used the visual description with my coaching clients about the ego, right? The ego
Mm-hmm.
is a blockage to the light that exists inside of you, and it is as you have traumas and so forth, which I have to imagine in the puzzle piece is the brokenness uh,
Mm-hmm.
that needs to be healed. You know, that veil, that ego becomes more and more transparent, allows the light to comes through.
Yeah.
So if I heard you
Yeah.
right, what
I
you're
know.
saying is that we've come to this Earth School in order to help remove those pieces out of our soul that blocks the light to, to do that transmutation
Yes.
process.
Mm-hmm. And then, what is the definition of ego? To me, ego is anything that blocks you from giving or receiving light. So if
Mm-hmm.
you're doing something that is blocking you from receiving light or giving light, then that's the ego. It's kind of your opposition, your opponent, um, to challenge you. And that was another thing I also discovered was, why do we come into this world with challenges? And it's about discovering these aspects of our own unique print of the soul, because you don't really look at who am I, you look at who am I not. So when you realize who you are not, it allows you to learn who you really are.
Who you really are.
So we have opposition so that we can learn who we're not, so we can then work on becoming who we are.
So how is the take a step back a little bit. How is the process of transformation for you? Um, you have this experience. You sort of come back into the world per se. You feel
Yeah.
like you're totally broken, and you're scratching your head, going, "What have I got myself into here?" And you
Yeah.
spent a year having to heal yourself. Did you feel like you were fighting it the whole time, or did you have complete faith and trust in the process? How was that process for you, say, for the first year or two after this event,
Mm.
emotionally?
Yeah, you know, especially losing your memory and not being able to remember things,
Mm-hmm.
it's very confusing. You know, even the music you listen to, everything looks different. You know, I don't necessarily want to listen to that music anymore. I want to listen to this now. So you really kind of change, and it's an awakening. However, the power of our own soul or our own inner self is very, very strong. And when, you know, I left the world and I had that connection to the other side, it became my true north. And it was so powerful, and I can remember it as if it happened yesterday. And that's how
Mm-hmm.
you know, because people ask, how do you know that you've had such a divine encounter? It doesn't change. The memory of it is exactly as you remember it the first time, and there's no question of it. You don't have any basis within yourself to question it. And it's a very powerful force. So I knew I was on a mission. I knew there was something that I was to do. Again, it was very difficult, you know, bedridden for a year for the healing. And then the journey really began. So, you know, 17 years ago, I'm just now coming out with new things in my life because it has been a long journey to discover and even learn how does this world work, and what is all of this about, and how can I work on healing people, because I've got to understand it first in order to then take on that divine providence of that mission to
Mm-hmm.
assist others in healing. So what is this all about, and you know, how does it all work? But the power of our inner self is a force that's very strong. The more fragmented pieces that you do have, it kind of blocks that and dulls that. So the more that we do transmute the fragmented pieces or move through the blockages in our life, the power of the soul or the inner self gets stronger.
Mm-hmm. And it's all interconnected. So I recently had the privilege of working with a forgiveness coach,
Mm,
and came to understand how much the body holds on to those pieces, right? When we have traumas in our life, particularly in our childhood, that need to be
mm-hmm,
healed. My own personal journey was one of self esteem issues in my high school, college, early 20s. It's the baggage I brought into my
mm-hmm,
first marriage. Um, and I reached a point, my big event was coming out of that failed marriage and saying, this is not the life that I want for myself. So, what can I do about it? How can I lead myself to a better life? And that led me to go in to do a bunch of therapy work and so forth to heal, the traumas I had in my childhood that led to the self esteem problems. But what I've come to learn and understand was, well, that changed my programming in my mind.
mm-hmm,
But there were parts of
mm-hmm,
my body that was still hanging on to the traumas, and we had to use forgiveness techniques to release those out of the body. So I don't know that it's really discussed a whole lot out in mainstream world, mainstream America, about the connectivity between the spirit, the mind, and the body. That when we have these events, that you have to look at all those pieces for healing and not just a reprogramming of the mind. Would you agree with that?
Yes, indeed. I mean, because we can reprogram the brain. That is an aspect of something I definitely worked on. But we also have to take accountability. You know, I think everything that happens is an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity for a lesson to be learned. And I don't believe that anything that comes to us is without void of that. Now, there's some very sensitive things that happen with people that, you know, it's hard to be accountable for something of such. However, there's opportunities within the perception of reality. even with my situation, I asked the question specifically, why did I have to go through this? Why did this happen? Wasn't there something I could actually learn and I could just help people by learning it? Like, did I have to actually go through the trauma of being knocked down to the very bottom and feel like I'm losing everything in my life in order
Right.
to be able to heal? And, the answer was you agreed to be able to heal people in this world. And in order to heal people in this world, you have to know what it feels like. You have to understand through your heart what is going on. So I had to experience it. So sometimes the lesson or the opportunity is something of such where you've chosen to learn a lesson so that you can help others. Not necessarily that you did something to deserve what you're working on for the accountability aspect.
Yeah, aka that was your
But
hero. That was your hero's journey, right? That's
yeah.
basically
Mm-hmm.
what the hero's journey is that you have to go through the fire, so to speak, in a particular area of
Yeah.
life so that you have that experience and then can turn around and help those that need to go through it themselves as a guide, as a coach, or whatever term that you want to throw at it. I mean, that's certainly the way I feel
Yeah.
about my own life, is that I
Yes.
can help business leaders through their traumas or self-esteem issues or whatever it may be because I walked that fire. I've been
Mm-hmm.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I want to turn to another subject, another favorite subject of mine, because I just think it's embedded in absolutely everything, and that is two words: love and fear. In a dynamic that is that dance or dynamic that is played between the two of them. Am I correct in saying that the soul, the energy, the light energy of the soul, is totally is steeped in love? Would that be a correct statement?
Indeed, yes. I believe fear and love are the two aspects of consciousness. You can either have fear based consciousness or you can have love based consciousness. So, the love based consciousness is through the heart, and fear based consciousness is obviously through the lack of love. But I also do believe consciousness is everything. What we think we can create. But just as much as consciousness is everything, love is that manifestation of that consciousness. So it's not just to have it in the mind, but to be able to bring it into the physicality. It works with both consciousness and love.
Yeah, I'm just a firm believer that it's embedded in every decision that we make in our life, no matter how big or small. You can take those two words and dissect the decision that sits in front of you. You're making a choice in life. Uh, those that listen to this podcast a lot know I say it all the time. Your most powerful tool in your life is the power of choice. So if you have a choice that's ahead of you, you can almost dissect the two or three or four possibilities that you have in front of you of paths that you could take in the choice based off of love and fear. What is the love element and what is the fear element that's involved in this mixture in the decision that you're going to make? And if you can start thinking about it in that way and choose love as much as you can, that's part of what your soul's journey is here on earth, is to understand that dynamic and how it plays in your life and how it plays in that consciousness, as you say, in the removal of the blockages that are in your life. What
Yeah.
do you think about that?
And yeah, a lot of people love that idea, and I work with others to help allow love to be their foundation. You want your foundation you build everything on to be
Mm-hmm.
love, and they tell me, that sounds great, but I have all these things I desire, but I can't seem to get to them, and I can't seem to allow that to be a constant theme or flow in my life. And that's where, we work on the blockages and what's the root source of the blockages
Mm-hmm.
that are showing up. Is it, abandonment, betrayal, humiliation? What's the common theme? And then working on that aspect in order to help transmute those so you can stay in the love space more. And also, again, using sound healing in order to help raise the vibration, because a lot of it that's difficult to maintain is because of a vibrational level. And fragmented pieces can be on a lower vibration. So the more that
Mm-hmm.
we raise our vibration, the more that we can be in a harmonic equilibrium with our soul self and allow that power to have more strength than the darkness that seems to be pushing down or trying to block us to be in that love-based consciousness.
Yeah, I kind of discovered that whole piece. It's one of my favorite books now, and I talk to people about it all the time. From Dr. David Hawkins. Uh,
Yeah.
he has one particular covers 2 pages, but shows you that energetic level difference between different emotions, with courage being the inflection point, and the bottom
Mm.
half underneath courage is anchored. I call it anchoring, anchored in fear, and the top part above courage is anchored in love. And
Yeah.
to get above love, you get into enlightenment um, and joy and so forth from that perspective. And I would have to say the discovery of that was one of the major events in my life to give me that framework and
Yeah.
that understanding, and particularly in my coaching world to help people from that aspect is energy is everything. If our soul is a light energy, then energy is everything. If we could start thinking about our lives energetically, which to me equates to be more strategically. If you're thinking strategically, you're thinking energy wise for your life. Then we can get out of this minutia of the tactics of life, which is the I got to take the kids to the soccer game, or
Yeah. Yeah.
it's this little things in our day to day that we go through that we get caught up in and allow our emotions to get driven by, that keeps us down, keeps us in those lower frequencies, as opposed to trying to stay up above that minutia and just think strategically about our life and stay at that upper frequencies of love and so forth, and don't let the minutia drag you down.
It's all about perception too, because your
Mm,
perception is your reality. So when we face challenges, we think, of victim consciousness. And I try to work with clients
mm,
not to be in victim, because everything's really an opportunity. That's something I learned greatly after leaving this world and coming back, is a perspective that we are very blessed. And there's a lot of things that's misperceived as trouble, or I'm a victim of all these things in life, which really truly, through a soul level, they're opportunities. And if you look at them at the different perspective as opportunities, it can give it a whole new weight of understanding to allow your work on it to be different, which allows your perception of reality to shift and to work with it instead of against it, because we kind of think of this war mentality of good and bad, right and wrong, a little bit of dualistic, and try to get more into a harmonic understanding that things are actually working with you, even though it doesn't appear to be that.
yeah. As a common friend of ours taught me, life works for us and through us, and
Yeah.
that's a huge mindset change. That when we can look at challenges in our life, whether we kind of grew them ourselves or sort of came out of nowhere, like your event,
Yeah.
that they all show up for a reason. And if we can pay attention or try to decipher what that reason is, then that allows life to start working for us, because it allows us to be intentional with our life and to change direction in our life for the better. Um, let's talk a little bit about what you're doing out there in the business world. You've got a nonprofit and some businesses. Why don't you talk a little bit about kind of your business journey, if you will, with the things that you're trying to accomplish as directed by the universe?
Sure. So after the accident, I spend a lot of time studying. That's where I've got all the accolades that you
Mm,
mentioned in the beginning, because I really needed to, keep healing, but also understand how does everything work. And so I spend a lot of time studying. And when I was doing that, I started learning so much about, the opportunities for the world to heal. So I started a business called the Soul Medic, and that's where I work on assisting and facilitating individuals to seek their inner self and understand more about their soul body blueprint, and help with transmuting fragmentations energetically and give personal guidance one on one. But I also knew that wasn't enough. There's only so many people that I can see face to
hmm
face. And I knew even from my inner self that I needed to bring something to the world more globally, with this divine providence that I've been gifted. So then I wanted to open up a nonprofit. And I did so with Supernal World Creations for humanitarian innovations. So this is where I really wanted to allow, science and spirituality to kind of come together and open up the opportunity for people to experience this healing of the fragmented pieces, more through sound. So through that, we created an app called Soul Link. And Soul Link is a comprehensive meditation platform that uses sound and earth visuals to help you connect to your inner self.
Uh, and this is something that you recently created. You launched it just a month or two ago. Is that correct?
Yeah, about a month ago, it just launched. So it was definitely time consuming. We have a patented formula. It's patent pending in 49 countries right now. So we utilize the sound healing musical compositions to be a guiding principle of Soul Link. And with
hmm
that, the sound pieces are created individually. Also, the cinematic earth visuals are created specifically. And we also have on there focused enhanced frequency waves. So within this creation, we were really working on the fundamental pieces of the app, before it was launched.
Yeah. So was reading about a bit about it on your website.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about meditation, um, meditation is really sort of a quieting of your life so that you can connect with the soul. The soul's already
Mm-hmm.
connected to the universe. It's part of the universe, but it's really an allowance to connect with yourself. And I know from my own efforts to meditate, particularly in the beginning, was like, oh, what is this all about?
Yeah.
I'm sitting here with my eyes closed and I'm thinking about everything I have to do today and what's going on in my
Mm-hmm.
daughter's lives and just, things of that nature. It's difficult, but what I liked about your app is that it gives you a different way or a different kind of process, if you will, to connect with your soul.
Yeah.
And it's doing it through visuals and through sound and so forth, where um, it's accomplishing the same thing, but it takes a very different path to get there.
Yes, because I noticed, leaving this world and coming back was giving me the opportunity to connect to my soul very easily. However, when I worked with people, they had a lot of hard time because when you close your eyes and you turn inward, because everything really is an inside job, but when you
hmm
go to turn inward, that's where all those fragmented pieces are. So that was confusing. It was also not raising the vibration. So
Right.
reaching meditation was difficult. So that's where I actually formulated the sound to be working on the transmutation just while you're listening to it. And then also to give you visuals to look at, because
Mm-hmm.
there are, sacred geometries in the nature aspects that are pleasing to look at. Everybody loves a beautiful view, everybody loves nature. So if I give you something on a visual journey, that I can take you on, or that you can actually choose which visual journey you would like, it allows for you to have something to focus on instead of those fragmented pieces. While the sound audio compositions, they're scientifically curated to resonate with your inner frequencies of the human brain, allowing your brain to enter into alpha state of consciousness, allowing
Mm-hmm.
the reprogramming to be pre-programmed into a mental state that gives you the mental clarity you want, the emotional balance that you want, your overall well-being. So it works with you to be able to meditate easier. And I also feel the individuality of your soul print matters. So when I was creating it, I wanted people to be able to choose their own, so you can scroll through and you choose which audio you would like to listen to, which have many different pieces within it. There's chord progression and sacred geometry, there's transcendental mantras through music, there's Safaji frequencies. So they all have a combination that's curated together that allows you to look at the details of that particular compilation and say, I want to work on stress relief today, or I want to be able to put up security shields because I feel like I'm being bombarded from left and right with all this negativity.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you want to choose, you can scroll through and choose. And then also with the cinematic earth visuals, you again scroll through and choose. So you get to pick whatever matches where you would like to be and what vibration you would like to tune into. So the visual stimuli plays a pivotal role in shaping your perceptions of the experience. So going again back to your perceptions of reality. So giving you
Mm-hmm.
that happy, joyful vibe of whatever you're connecting to, whether you want to be in the snow or the desert, or even if you want to be in the rainforest, or, swimming in the ocean with dolphins. They're all there to really give you the earth visuals to reconnect you with your own inner self.
Yeah, people may think I'm crazy with this next statement, but I felt that extremely. I was blessed. Oh, it was about 8 or 10 years ago now. My parents took my brother and I on a trip to Ireland for the first time, and my heritage
Yeah.
is Irish, Scottish Irish. And I'm here to tell you, I walked off the airplane in Dublin, Ireland, and went through immigration and customs and just stood there in the airport terminal and just looked around and went, what is this that I'm feeling? I have never felt an
Mm.
energy, and I felt it the entire trip that I was in Ireland. Uh, it was just different. And I never perceived that in my life. And I cherish that, being that that's my heritage, to sort of go back to Ireland and have that connectivity, that connection to some kind of energy force that kind of makes me feel like I'm at home, right? It was just a very
Yeah.
peaceful, calming connection that you face whenever you go back to your childhood home, or the town that you grew up in, or whatever, that kind of comfort, blanket comfort kind of feeling. And it was just outstanding is the only word I can throw at it. But I hope
Yeah.
the listening audience can have an opportunity like that to feel that kind of energy in a particular place and have an understanding of the role that energy plays in your life.
Yeah, that goes back to that true north statement. When you have something so powerful like that, it just stays with you and you can't forget it. It really is a connecting piece of a foundational element that
Mm.
in tunes with your soul. And that inner attunement is harmonic. And we want to, listen to those aspects within our connection that we feel.
What do you think is the most common reason that stops people from experiencing spirituality in your life? Is it the sense of control? Is it the sense of that I need to be in control of my life, and therefore I'm going to sort of put up these blockages, so to speak, spiritually, because I need to fully understand exactly everything that's happening in my life, and I need to manipulate it in some way?
Um, I think it's vibrationally. I think people, are disconnected more because of the fragmented pieces. And if we don't learn the
Mm-hmm.
lessons, the fragments, build up. The more that they build up, it's kind of like if you have a light, and you have this light that's turned on, and you put a blanket over it. Your room is going to get a little bit dimmer, and you put another blanket over it, it's going to get even more dimmer. You can put 20 blankets over it, and it gets, a lot dimmer. It looks like it's completely dark in the room.
Right.
However, the light is still on. So the light of our soul is always still on. And there are these fragmented pieces that block us from connecting to it. So the more that we can work on raising our vibration, listening to sound therapy to help us raise our vibration and
Mm-hmm.
work on our inner self, it connects you to a stronger attunement of your soul self or your inner self. Um, yeah, so
So,
that's my perception.
what other things are you looking to do through your nonprofit besides the app? Anything?
We have a couple different directions that we can go. One of them is, well, it's still through the app, but we have an opportunity at the moment to be creating a virtual reality experience. So with the eyes open meditation, I really wanted to be able to bring a full immersive experience through VR. So we're working on right now being able to create with the Apple Vision Pro that's coming out next year, a replication of our app in order to bring a different experience to meditation and make
Mm-hmm.
meditation in your life more, interesting, especially with the visuals and with the sound. We also have the opportunity to be able to work in the health field and really see how this work is actually helping the brain, and be able to do, clinical trials so that we can focus on understanding what's taking place physically, how this is able to remove stress. So we have that direction as well that we are moving. But the humanitarian innovation aspect is through the patented formula, through sound and visuals that we have created.
Well, unfortunately, we've run out of time. Uh, Fascinating stuff. I really enjoyed our conversation today, Dr. Dawn. If people wanted to reach out to you to understand more about your coaching services or the meditation app or anything of that nature, what would be the best way they could reach out to you?
Sure. So we have our website, soul-link.org, for our VR and sound experience through SoulLink. We also have the Soul Medic. So you can go to thesoulmedic.com to be able to reach out to me there.
Very good. So, as I forewarned you in the green room, we ask our guests at the end of every episode the same question because we like to collect the answers and see what the common thread is between everybody's answers. So, Dr. Dawn, my last question for you today is: what do the words "generate your value" mean to you?
Well, to me, it means everything. Generating your value. What is value? To me, the value is the aspect of your soul in your soul print. So, generating your value means taking that piece of the puzzle that you are and putting that piece back together and allowing it to be placed in this big um, puzzle piece that we have of this world, so we can fulfill our own piece of the puzzle, which then therefore helps all the other pieces come together and be one and unified. So to me, it means everything.
So for the listening audience, I forewarned you. We were going to go deep. In today's episodes, there's so many. Dr. Don, we on this podcast, we call them golden nuggets of information that people can take away from our conversations with our guests and use them to integrate into their life, into their business, whatever it may be, that helps them to move forward in creating a life for themselves that brings joy, happiness, and success in their life every single day. And I think in every single minute of this conversation, there's a golden nugget somewhere you can pull out of this conversation to help you on that journey of finding joy, happiness, and success in your life. So maybe I should have forewarned you, the listening audience, to pull out a piece of paper and a pencil and write all this stuff down. Anyway, it'll be in a blog post on my website, the whole transcript of our conversation. So no need if you didn't have a piece of paper and pencil. It's all readily available 24 hours a day once this episode's releases. So that being said, this episode's going to come out right around the new year, when hopefully you're being introspective anyway about what you want to come forward with in your life in 2024, that maybe you can use some of these concepts to take a slight left turn or a slight right turn towards that goal. Anyway, hope you'll hit the subscribe button. We're here every week with a guest of the caliber of Dr. Don to bring you content that hopefully is going to help you move forward or change things in your life for the better. We hope that you have a great day today, a great week, and we can't thank you enough for tuning in to the Generate Your Value podcast. Take care. Thank you so much for joining us today on this episode of the Generate Your Value podcast. If you find our conversations to be useful in your life, I invite you to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss an episode.
You can find me online at Instagram at _Zach.Levy, Facebook, and LinkedIn.
For information on my coaching services, visit my website at www.generateyourvalue.com. You can also find me and my company on LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Simply search for Generate Your Value on those platforms.
Once again, thanks for joining us for today's podcast, and we invite you to generate your value in this world.